guess where we are today? The Andy Griffith home place. We're in Mount Airy, North Carolina. Lived here from 1935 to 1966. And this is the home. And Andy was here in 2002 for the dedication of a highway named for him. And he said he actually stayed all night in the house, and he said it was just wonderful. He said things have really changed since he lived here. And that when he lived here, there was a living room, a kitchen. There were 3 rooms, a front porch and a back porch. He said his dad bought this house for $800. He said they now call it the yellow-sided house, but back then it was so old the siding was black. He said there was no heat or air, and the toilet was on the back porch. So we'll go back there and take a look. And he said it was so cold in the winter. He said it was so cold in the winter. And he said eventually he started sleeping in the 3rd bedroom, and he would go stand by the stove in the kitchen and run into the bedroom and get in under about 10 quilts. And he said his mom was always after his dad to fix the house up. He said so he and his dad had gotten shovels and anybody that could help them, and they went under the house and they dug it out. And they made this beautiful backyard and front yard, he said, with trees and flowers and grass, and it was just absolutely beautiful. He said he remembers one time in this back kitchen right here that it was below freezing, so his dad was afraid the faucet was going to freeze, that he turned the faucet on all night, but the drain froze, and he said he remembers his mom down on her hands and knees with an axe the next morning breaking up that ice. He said but boy, life was good. Look at that up there. Welcome. This is to Mount Airy. And right up here we're going to see one of the streets he used to walk along all the time. The house across the street. So Andy said when he was here for that dedication that it was 2002, and he said, I'm not going to be such a stranger anymore, but there's no documentation that he ever did come back to Mount Airy again. Sorry about the sun. But this is also for rent if you would like to come here and stay. I think now it's very comfortable. But what fun. Now we're traveling along Rockyford Street back into the town of Mount Airy, and Andy said that he used to walk this street to school and that it would be covered with tar. And he said, I just couldn't stay out of that tar. He said, by the time I got to school, I had tar in my hair, I had it all over my clothes. And he said, I got it sent home from school, and he said, when I got home, Mom was whipping me and crying. And he said, I'll never forget. He said, but I never got in that tar again. Now we're at the Andy Griffith Playhouse. It says Andy Griffith Playhouse and Surrey Arts Council. And Andy said that this was the actual auditorium for the grade school and the high school. And the school's been torn down, but this playhouse was actually the auditorium. And he said that they would have assemblies every Friday, and that the 3rd grade, which he was in, did not have a music program, but they were having an assembly, and he told one of his friends, hey, if you get up and sing a song, I'll do the same thing. And the guy said, okay, we'll do it. So when the time came, Andy stood up to let the guy get up to go so they could both sing. He said that guy never moved. He said, but I got up And I stood up there and I put my hands behind my back and I sang out. I think he said 2 choruses, Put On Your Old Gray Bonnet, he said, and everybody in the crowd laughed. They threw their head back and laughed. He said that was the first laugh I ever got, and I was hooked. Now we're standing out front of the Playhouse, and this is a sculpture of Opie and Andy. And Andy had said that his dad and mom were just so special in his life, especially his dad. He said his dad was a greater man than he. His dad was a foreman at one of the mills around here, and he said that he got his start because his father's boss and another man had given him $1,000 to start his career, and he'd never forget it. Of the people in this town, he said he just got so much love and support from them. I'll see if we can zoom in and see what this says right here. Y'all can see it. It says, Andy Griffith Show, a simpler time and a sweeter place, a lesson, a laugh, a father and a son. That was TV Land. Let's go inside. Okay, we're in here. We're in the museum right now. These are just some of the records that Andy had made. He actually won a Grammy later on in life for doing gospel music. I don't know if they have it here or not. If you notice, this is an album for the Broadway play Destry that Andy was in. And he said while he was in that he got a call about the Andy Griffith Show from Sheldon Leonard. And he said he met with Sheldon and that he didn't like the idea of the show. It was about a small town sheriff who was justice of the peace, was a lot of different things, and he told funny stories, and he just didn't like that. He said, but I definitely liked Sheldon. He said, so Sheldon went on back out to LA, but then I had him come back again and tell me the story again. And I said, okay. So I had a 2-week vacation from Destry, so I went out and did the pilot for the show. And that was it. And this was the dedication of the Parkway in 2002. This is where he received the Medal of Freedom. This was the dedication of the statue here out front. See Thelma Lou. Folks on the show. Jim Neighbors. And this is amazing, the actual signs from the Justice of the Peace and Sheriff on the front doors of the courthouse. So the Mayberry Courthouse door signs, these are the original Sheriff and Justice of the Peace signs used on the exterior of the Mayberry's Courthouse doors in the Andy Griffith Show from 1960 to 1968. Pretty incredible. Just a real piece of history. Gives you cold chills. Amazing. This is amazing. This is one of Andy's shirts from the show. It says that Andy Griffith, 2008. Here it is, one of the shirts I wore and was made at Nudi's Rodeo Tailors, which was famous for doing Western wear in North Hollywood. And that's what made it special. Thank you for taking care and preserving articles from my life. Sincerely, Andy Griffith. This is interesting. This is a picture of them shooting when they're out on the boat on the lake. But look at all the people around that you never saw. And here's a picture of the cast. So this is the Backstage TV Land Awards in 2004. Here's a picture of some of the Emmys that Don Knotts won for the show. Two more down here. This is the National Academy of Television Arts and Science honors Don Knotts. The Return of Barney Fife, The Andy Griffith Show, January 10th, 1966, and his nomination. This is interesting. This is a billboard for No Time for Sergeants. Andy was in this movie, did Broadway, television, and a movie. But he said he had read the book, and he just knew the character. He said he was the most Christian character that he had ever played, and he just had to do this movie. And he read for the part, and he didn't do very well, and he was leaving. So he was out, and then here's a script. He was out in the lobby getting ready to leave, and a lady asked him, "What do you do? What are you here?" He said, "Oh, I read for the part." And she said, "Well, what do you do?" He said, "Well, I do nightclub acts." And he said, "What do you do in nightclub acts?" And he said, "Well, I do Hamlet and opera and things like that." She said, "Well, show it to me." So he started telling the story of Hamlet, and little by little people started gathering around. Before he knew it, the whole room was full of people, and the people that had actually interviewed him for the part were listening, and he got the part because of that. Isn't that amazing? I'll tell you, here's something iconic. Don Knotts' salt and pepper suit. How many times have we seen him go to the dances with Thelma Lou with these suits on? Just incredible. He was up there in it. And there's some actual scripts from the show. And here's George Lindsay Goober's suits. And there's Goober's suit and his hat. They actually had his hat bronzed, if y'all remember his hat. And we all remember Otis. This is his suit. Otis Campbell, suit, necktie, and hats.
I'm sorry you can't go to the picture show with us, but we'll see you.
And there's also a script called Manhunt, written by Charles Stewart and Jack Ellison, 7/25/1960. Now, Thelma Lou is the only one other than Ronnie Howard that is still alive, and she comes here once a month and will sign autographs. But right now with the COVID, that's shut down through December, but hopefully that will come back. She is in her 90s, and they usually meet down in the basement. I actually met some folks down there. Don Knotts daughter one time, and I also met Ronnie Shell. Ronnie Shell used to be on the Gomer Pyle show, and also he had his own show at one time. He was Sergeant Slater, if you guys remember him. Really nice guy. He's a Facebook friend of mine. He's in his 80s. Looks better than he did back in those days. And here's a picture of Andy's original star. Said that they used it in the filming between 1960 and 1968. Incredible. Walking down the main street of Mayberry here. Not Mayberry, but Mount Airy's one of the shops. Mayberry Country. We're going down to Snappy Lunch and to Floyd's Barbershop. There's Walker's soda fountain coming up right here. I guess that's Ellie Walker. There's Aunt Bee's kitchen, candy kitchen. It's a theater. Look at that beautiful architecture. I love these old towns. This looks like this Angel Divine Pies. Yummy. Ice cream. Opie's Candy Store. And look at this, Floyd's Barbershop. Looks like they're closed today. Closed on Mondays. Most beauty shops, Barbie shops are. And look at this, Snappy Lunch. Andy said that they have that famous pork chop sandwich, and he said, I've never had a pork chop sandwich in my life. He said, I did used to come here, and I would have a hot dog, and he called it a pop. When I lived in West Virginia, we called it pop. But down here, they don't call it pop. Oh, it says they're getting a new roof, so they'll be closed today, unfortunately. So good for them, getting a new roof. You guys need to come here sometime. It's beautiful. I know in the summer they have Barney driving up and down the street in the patrol car. They have Otis out here going up and down the street. We'll drive down the street. There is a filling station down there where you can actually get in the car and take tours. Don't know if they're doing that right now, but we'll drive down there and take a look. This. It is so cute. It's the patrol car. It's got Andy, Thelma Lou, and Barney. And I don't know if you remember that episode. It was when Barney bought a car, and I think it was the funniest one I ever saw, where it completely broke down and the steering column came up into his face, and Thelma Lou saw it and screamed, and it was just hilarious. Hey, we're here at Wally's filling station, and that's the patrol car that you can take a tour in, find out about the town if you're here. Here is the truck, the Darlings, Frisco and Charlene, the boys, falling into Mayberry. Wally's towing. We'll go walk around front so you can see the front of the building. I don't know if how the sun's going to do right here. We'll do the best we can. Oh, I hear the siren. It's Wally's service station. Looks like they're open. Barney's saying nip it. He's got a mask on. I don't know if they buy into that. Andy's parents were Carl Lee Griffith and Geneva Griffith. And they are buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Los Angeles. And Andy's buried on the Griffith estate in Manteo, North Carolina. And I know most of you probably heard this, that his family had him buried within 5 hours of his death, which seems a little odd, but that's what happened. So you cannot actually get to his gravesite. And his parents, you can look it up on Find a Grave and see his parents at Forest Lawn. I wanted to, if I could, show you some of the gorgeous houses along the street here, coming from Wally's filling station back down into Mayberry or Mount Airy. It's a beautiful little North Carolina town, but some of the homes, as with a lot of these little towns, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Look at this home right here on the left. Both of them, aren't they beautiful? Look at this one. Wow, love the columns. Just a beautiful manicured street. Beautiful little church. Must be Episcopal, usually Episcopal churches. Nope, Presbyterian. Back down into town. And it is one way coming through Mount Airy, so you have to go around. You can only come in one way. So we'll go down and come back up. Hi, we're back home. Hope you had a good time. I had a great time. If you're ever in North Carolina, go to Mount Airy. It's on the North Carolina-Virginia border, right off of I-77. And you'll just be excited to see props, the real props from the original show, and a lot more than I got to show you today. So Andy had said that he was raised a Baptist, born again at 8 years old, and I think you see that reflected through all of the work that he's done down through the years. And he said the people of Mount Airy were so kind and such a blessing to him, so that I hope you will visit. And remember that whatever's going on in your life, that the Lord is with you. He said, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. Let not your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. So guys, it's all good that we have the victory in him. So today, I hope you have a wonderful day. I am so excited about next month. We're going to be on the road. I have 2 vlogs that I can't wait to show you. So we'll see you then. And in the meantime, have a blessed day.